Aloha, everybody, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And hope your day is going really well. And thank you for joining me today as I share some stories with you. And the story that I have to share with you goes back a few years ago, just before I decided to move up to Waiwa and live with Elle and her family. Just before that, I had left a relationship, um, a long relationship, and for a short period of time, I was living out of my car. Yeah. So I didn't have any place to really go and be. Actually, I have a lot of family here, but I didn't want to burden them with my problems. So anyway, during this short period of time, I started kind of like finding comfortable places for me to spend the night. I would work late into the afternoon at work. I was working at Campbell as a teacher, and sometimes I would shower at the school. Sometimes I would shower at the park, and so I had different places where I could clean up and keep my hygiene up. And I also had a refrigerator in school where I kept my insulin and my meds, so I didn't have to worry about that. Anyway, so it was a period of time where I was homeless. Yeah, okay, and living out of my car. And one of my favorite places that I used to like hanging out, especially on the weekends, where there would be people around me and I would feel safe, is out at Makua Beach. And sometimes I drive my car up onto the Papa, uh, right above the place where somebody had drawn uh, or written in spray paint, "Pray for Sex," close to Makua Cave. And that end of Makua was a place that I used to spend a lot of time. And sometimes I get out my fishing pole and go out and whip for papio or moana, and I would catch some and I bring it back to my car and I uh, cook some rice and fry up the fish that I caught. Anyway, on this particular night, I'm not too sure what phase of the moon it was, but on this particular night, I felt really uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep. Normally, when the sun goes down and after I eat, then I have something to drink. Um, I stay in the car and I pass out, and I'm gone, and there's nothing that wakes me up. But and a lot of people just leave me alone. I hear other cars pulling up and near me or close to me, and they never bothered me at all. So it was a safe place. But this particular night, I believe it was in the middle of the week, I had parked my car closer to the road than usual, and it was a quiet night, and I had a really hard time sleeping. For some reason, there was something that was drawing my attention down towards the beach. So I got out of my car and I was wondering, what's drawing me down to the beach? And the moon was out, and it wasn't full moon, but the moon was out enough where it illuminated the entire white sand beach. And you could see it from Perfosex all the way down to close to Yokohama, the end, the end of Makua. So the whole beach was lit up. And as I started staring at the beach, I noticed that there were people. There were people there, and I'm looking around. I'm trying to see if there was any cars, and there were no cars. Nobody was camping. I was looking for camping lights. And there was nothing there. Um, there was one lady that was camping closer down to the other corner of the beach, and she had a stone labyrinth, and I talked to her a couple of times, but she was not too stable, so I tried to stay away from her. But anyway, this one night I could see all the way down, and her fire was the only fire lit up at the other end of Makua. But there were people, and as I started counting, there was about 20 of them, and they were all down by the beach, and they're kind of like just standing in the surf and allowing the waves to kind of like come up and brush over their feet. And they're standing, and it looks pretty strange. I was wondering, what are these people doing there? So I walked down with my flashlight. I came down to the beach, and I came up. As I approached these people, I noticed that they weren't people at all. They were spirits, okay, in human shape. And they were dark, and which is the reason why they look like people. But the closer I got to them, I realized these were spirits, because even under the light conditions that there were, I would have seen if their skin, my skin would shine at night and reflect. But these spirits were all lined up, and they were in the surf and letting the waves come up. And you could see them kind of like when the waves come up, they feel like, wow, relieved. And there was a feeling of, wow, this feels terrific, and it was like they were enjoying the waves there. And so once I identified that they were spirits and not humans, I backed off, and I started watching them from a distance. I went up back to the bluff near the Prairie 6 edge and edge of the Papa, and I watched them, and they were there for a good 2-3 hours, and until finally they kind of just dissolved. So you had about 20 of them all lined up, and I couldn't tell if they were male or female. They were just shadows. And I was wondering, why would there be so many of these spirits there? I knew there was a small grave, but the number of people that were there outnumbered the graves. And so there must have been another reason for these spirits to be there. And then I ended up going back to school, and then I started asking questions among my Hawaiian friends if they knew anything about Makua and the spirits at Makua. And one of them told me Makua was one of the favorite places where the underworld was using to bury bodies. That made so much sense. So a lot of the spirits of these people that were buried, in Makua, the spirits were there, and they were still there. I'm not too sure what happened to the bodies, whether they were recovered or not, or if there's still more that was undiscovered yet. Okay, but once I found out what was going on there, I started seeing more spirits come out, and just like every opportunity they had, they would be playing in the surf, and the spirits would be there. Okay, so if you go down to Makua and camp, and you folks see late at night, and you're roaming the beach, and you see dark figures playing in the water, this may be an explanation why you're seeing these things, okay? And I could be wrong, but I could be right. Okay, so Makua has a long history, and in fact, the name Makua is parent. And from what I understand from my reading of Makua, Makua used to be a favorite resting place for travelers who were going along the North Shore, and as they rounded Kaena Point, they came to Makua to rest before they continued their journey along the South Shore. And Makua, the waves that you get over there and the currents that you get over there, the beach is normally pretty nice. Okay, so I can see the canoes coming up and spending time over there resting and being fed and cared for. So could these spirits also be those ancestors or ancient ones? Could be. Okay, and there was also people living up in the valleys, and could those spirits be them? Sure, why not? So Makua is a very spiritual place, and seeing these things on the beach, seeing these objects on the beach, should not take you by surprise. Okay? Anyway, this is my story for today, and thank you for watching. If you enjoy my stories, please share it with other people. And just a reminder, my book, The Journey of Our Souls, is still available on Amazon. And if you're a subscriber to Amazon Prime, you can download this for free on your Kindle. Okay, and if you want a hard copy of my book, just check my website, thejourneyofursouls.com. Okay, and this is Dave Wallace, and mahalo for watching, and have a great Mother's Day. Aloha.